Ladies and gentlemen, the Alabama Senate will now come to order. Our prayer today will be delivered by Senator Chris Elliott. Senator Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, if you would, please join me in prayer. O Lord, our governor, bless the leaders of our land, that we may be a people at peace among ourselves and a blessing to other nations of the earth. To the president and members of the cabinet, to governors of states, mayors of cities, and to all in administrative authority, grant wisdom and grace in the exercise of their duties. To senators and representatives and those who make our laws in states, cities, and towns, give courage, wisdom, and foresight to provide for the needs of all our people and to fulfill our obligation in the community of nations. To judges and officers of our courts, give understanding and integrity that human rights may be safeguarded and justice served. And finally, teach our people to rely on your strength and to accept their responsibilities to their fellow citizens, that they may elect trustworthy leaders and make wise decisions for the well-being of our society, that we may serve you faithfully in our generation and honor your holy name. For yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head above all. Amen.
Thank you, Senator Elliott. Today, the pledge will be led by Senate Page Ellie Smith. Ellie is a great niece of Senator Donnie Chastain.
Attention, salute, pledge.
Thank you, Ellie. Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chastain. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Melson. Here. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Reed. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Schofield. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shelnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Here. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 30 senators present, which is a quorum. The Senate is ready to transact business.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
move that we excuse absent senators.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
move that we dispense with the reading of the journal from the previous legislative day.
All right, any
That we
objection?
adopt said journal.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. All right, now move on to introduction of bills. Senator Barfoot.
Mr. President, make a motion to introduce bills throughout the day.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. Thanks, Senator Barfoot. All right, now move on to committee reports. Secretary, call the first committee. All right, and we have a, attention members, we have a real special guest in the gallery, Reagan Barfoot. If you could please stand, the daughter of Senator Barfoot. Welcome to the Alabama Senate.
From the Committee on Finance and Taxation, General Fund, Senate Bill number 68 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President. Mr. President,
Senator, good afternoon.
request for the title to be read.
All right, Secretary, read the title.
Senate Bill 68 to amend sections 3627-1, 3627-16 as last amended by Acts 2022-184 and 2022-351, 2022 regular session, Code of Alabama 1975 relating to retirement benefits for employees who are members of the Employees Retirement System, to reopen the State Police Tier 2 plan to any employee of the Alabama State Law Enforcement Agency who is certified by the Alabama Peace Officers Standards and Training Commission and performs law enforcement duties, to modify the Tier 2 benefits received by all State Police Tier 2 members, and to clarify that employees of the Alabama State Law Enforcement Agency are state policemen for retirement purposes. From the Committee on Finance and Taxation, General Fund, Senate Bill number 69 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President,
Senator Smithman.
request the title be read, please.
All right, Secretary, read the title.
Senate Bill 69 relating to the retirement systems of Alabama to amend Section 36-2759, Code of Alabama 1975, to remove the time limit for purchasing hazardous duty time for prior eligible service for certain firefighters, law enforcement officers, and correctional officers covered under the Employees Retirement System or the Teachers Retirement System as Tier 1 plan members. From the Committee on Finance and Taxation, General Fund, Senate Bill number 99 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President,
Senator Smithman.
ask for the title be read.
All right, Secretary, read the title.
Senate Bill number 99 relating to courts to increase the mileage reimbursement paid to jurors.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate Confirmation number 42, appointing Rachel Riddle to the Chief Examiner of Public Accounts, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President,
Yes, Senator Livingston.
I move we confirm Rachel Riddle as the Chief Examiner.
Mr. President,
Yes,
I'd like to be recognized.
you're recognized.
Miss Riddle, is she up there? Is she up there? No, she's not up there. That's what I mean. I can talk then, because I was going to keep her in here. You know how hard that lady work. I'm here to tell the world, that lady work hard. I just want y'all to know that. I am so proud that she is doing what she is doing, y'all. I mean, she tried to help everybody. She tried to come around and do whatever we need her to do. And so I just wanted to, I had to say that up front so everybody know that I am a Miss Riddle fan. I am, in fact, also, for the people in the gallery, so they'll know I'm actually on her committee. I'm on the committee. The Senate was nice enough to vote me to be on the what they call it, the accountants. It's not accounting. What is it called? Audits of Accounts Committee. So I'm one of the representatives of the Senate. So I had to tell everybody, so you wouldn't think that it was something that we being me had a concern about Ms. Riddle. She is top notch. But I do want to share with y'all for about an hour just how top notch she is. You know, I want y'all to know that so we can sit down and do a little bit. Mr. Chairman, I wish we had, I know we had it, but we got to be equal. I wish we had 2 stools so you could have one and I could have one. And we could just sit here and relax and everything. And let me tell you what I did. I know you didn't come up here to hear this, but I'm going to tell you. My kids thought enough of me that they bought me, so what them little shoes they get, them Kohans. Yeah, so they knew I was gonna be standing a lot. So they said, Daddy, you need some shoes that feel good and give to your foot. So I got a little brown Kohans on today. So I just wanted to know these little feet gonna be all right today. Now sometimes them puppies be talking. You know, I be standing up and they be hurting. But today they feel pretty good, you know. So I have to share this with Mr. Chairman. This is one of the unfortunate. These things are one of the things that the Constitution just let us talk it out. That's all it is. You know, we can't go past it, but we can do that. So I just want you to kind of know that was the reason why you see me at this moment. Hey, and I'm gonna tell everybody too. I want to say this. Everybody be my witness. He's an outstanding chairman. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not blowing smoke at you. I want to tell you.
Thank you,
He
sir.
does an outstanding job. He allows all of us to be able to express ourselves and do what we got to do. He even allows the people the opportunity to do it. He provides information for us to know a lot about their backgrounds. And if we necessarily need to have an interview, he provides and does that for us. So I don't want you to think at all. We got a great chairperson, and I mean that sincerely. But on this particular situation, Mrs. Riddle does an outstanding job. She sets policies and procedures, and you know, it's very difficult when you have to go in behind people and create a structure. And a lot of times when she goes in with these different entities. Now, I can tell you that I had a similar experience of having to create a structure. That's what I meant. In that for 3 terms, I served as the treasurer for the National Black Caucus of State Legislators for 3 terms. And when I went in, it wasn't any kind of structure whatsoever. So I had to go back in and recreate based on paperwork and documentation the situation in which I had to try to kind of operate. And when I say I wasn't the only person. I had a committee, and there was about 5 of us. There was some people all over the country, and we would meet up, and I can just tell you, after those meetings and after doing that. Hey, look at come on, before you go.
Mr. President,
Senator Orr.
the good gentleman has agreed to yield without losing his time or place to talk about all the things he'd like to talk about Ms. Rachel Riddle as the Chief Examiner of Public Accounts. True enough?
It's true enough.
All right.
True statement.
I didn't know if y'all want to listen up, members, some of you like to co-sponsor bills, and I'm going to file a few today. These might mean something to you, might not, I don't care, but let me run through them right quick. One is regarding public records and making them more accessible to the public. This bill has been worked on with the cities and counties. Another is college scholarships for those that have some college. We got 500,000 students across the state that have some college, but they hadn't finished. Another is a dashboard. When you choose a major, what major would you, what's that major going to pay when you get your degree? Another is the grocery tax that I think is the way we need to go. And the last one, I don't think y'all really care about. So I'll put them on my desk if you want to co-sponsor them. Thank you, good gentleman from Jefferson.
Senator Smithman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are you saying do somebody want some sponsors or something? What? Yeah. What you said them bills do? What do you say these bills do? I know what I was trying to get ready for, so I could talk about Ms. Riddle. That's all. So you gonna let me look at them when they get through signing in? I'll look at them when they get through signing in. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm back, Jermaine. I see secretary over there. He going in there Jermaine mode. So I'm just joking with secretary. That's all. But when it comes to this confirmation, I made the nomination. I made the nomination for it. That's how much I believe in Ms. Riddle. I made the nomination, so I'm just telling you, I'm all for her. You know, she runs a good department. She's a good manager. I think we're going to have to help out a little bit more in the budget because we want more done.
Yeah.
And it's going to take more personnel, you know, so we're going to have to help out in that regard.
I think the budget chairman's right there in front of you if you want to have a word with him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, I can tell you, this space over here, I was wondering why I was rocking a little bit. It's power over here.
Power over there.
It's his power standing right here. I'm serious. It's power. So I'm just looking. Hey, I'm trying to hold you. So I'm holding on to this thing right here, so I don't get rocked out of here.
Thought your feet might be hurt a little bit, Senator.
No, not yet. Not yet. And you know, I did something. I must say this. I did something that was totally kind of unusual for me. I actually spent the night. I spent the night.
That's nice.
So I have all that hard driving I had to do back and forth, you know, and everything. I spent the night and went on in early, and then got up and put a decent time. And then the only thing about it, I didn't get a chance to really eat any breakfast because, you know, we had 8:30 meeting this morning.
Yeah.
But guess what? About an hour ago, hungry as I was all day, I got a chance to have some golden fried chicken, collards, tomatoes, cornbread, potato pie, Mountain Dew for the caffeine to give me the energy and staying. I can add that. So I have never felt any better being up here physical wise than I have right now, you know. So that doesn't mean we're going to be up here forever and ever, but it does mean I feel good.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you do feel good.
I feel real good. You know, I tell you something, and I want you to know I did do this, and all defense to our guests. Everybody that was sitting back there, and they'll tell you I did. I talked to them about it's a possibility that this may not go as quick as they may anticipate. So we didn't surprise them now. I just want to tell you that I kind of wanted them to know that it may be a little conversation.
We have a number of them, I think, still upstairs watching.
Say what now?
I think we have a number of them still upstairs watching.
Oh, I see them. I see all them friendly faces up there. I see them. I see every last one of them sitting up there. And so what's your game plan? I mean, because, you know, we can't do all, I ain't gonna say what we can't do. It's just that unless we stay here X amount of time, because anything can be done. Now, we can say if we had 20, looking at that clock, 4 now to 4 in the morning will get us about 12 to 14 of them.
Well, so about an hour apiece is 8 hours is midnight, so that's about all we can get, isn't it?
We come right back at 12:01.
Okay.
You know, were you here today, the one we used to have the little cots in here? Were you in there?
We haven't come back at 12:01 before, but yes, sir.
Well, we used to have, I'm telling this center right here, we used to have cots in here. Yeah, them blue canvas cots. Because I used to sleep right there. That's my little spot. Right there at the cots. We used to have them in here. The Senator Rooch, I know it. See, and guess what? We have specialty cots. We have the cot, if you Rooch, it has an R on it. Aura Farouz card. If you minority leader, you have an M card. You know, you majority leader, you have an MJ card. You know, so we had cards, we had all of them in there for real. That's we did. We had them in there. In between each aisle, we have one, but we haven't had something like that in a long time. A long time, you know. Now we are here to talk about, you know, Ms. Rose, and she does all this. I think we need to have an audit of the softball game and team. We need to have a little re-audit of the softball, you know, so we can take account of how many people and where they want to be and where they want to play, you know, that kind of thing. But getting back to what we really hear about in this confirmations is that, no, as I was telling you, I had the opportunity to serve as treasurer. Now, one thing that did for me, I was involved, I had to meet on a periodic and regular basis with the accountants and, you know, and all of that, because being treasurer. Now, we went through and did some audits and did some reviews and stuff like that. But the key thing was, out of that, is that it caused me to have to go to Washington, D.C. on a very regular basis. And when you go up there, I made it like I was going up there anywhere from every month, every 2 months, because, you know, we had to reconcile the books and do all that kind of stuff. And the office is based at the Hall of the States. Do you know what that is? That's the Hall of the States is 2 blocks from the White House.
Okay.
Just 2 blocks. So that's where our office was. And so, but once you go up there, listen at this. Every 4 to 6 weeks for 6 years, I done seen everything you can see, from snow. I done seen up there when it was so hot and them people don't have air conditioning, that they were, you know, because the coolness of the weather. I done seen all of that stuff. And I done seen so much that you ain't heard me one time, and I'm talking about, damn, I need to go to Washington, D.C. I done had enough of that. I'm not saying I wouldn't go back, but I've had so much of that place that it's just unreal. I just tell you, even though I was working, I wasn't, and I didn't get paid a dime, you know, because they don't pay you for them positions, you know, but it's just that being up there like that, I just could not, I tell people, you know, it's nice to go and visit. And even if you had a chance to be in Congress, that'd be nice too. But to live,
So, Senator, did you want to be recognized? Okay, so you've got the mic. Are you willing to yield?
Without losing my time and place.
All right, so you're recognized. Just make sure not to garble your words, sir. Thank you.
So that's back when you were doing all the accounting, when you were the treasurer. Is that when you were going up to D.C. and doing all that? Now, just being from St. Clair County, all them numbers look like garble to me. I can't get all those numbers straight. It looks like a bunch of garble and stuff. Could you decipher all those numbers when you were doing that?
Well, I could be tutored and understand it, because when I was in undergrad in college, you know how it is when you have about 30 elective hours, you know what I mean, when you go to college. But guess what I did with my elective hours?
I'm scared to ask.
I took all major subjects. So, you know, like if you take 5 subjects and then you declare the major, like, you know, I mean, so my hour like 15 hours or something. I took it in management, designated as a major, marketing as a major, insurance as a major, and accounting. Yeah, but I didn't take no elective. I want y'all to know, you know how you have electives, you take this and that and bold and all that. I didn't take any of that. The real reason, though, is because in this building, the business building, I never had to go out. I get on the elevator, go to 5 to class, I ride back down to 3. And so on winter and rain, it was the best thing. It was the best thing. You know, it was tough, because sometimes you find yourself taking in accounting, you know, when you're doing it that way, you know, I'm taking accounting 1 and accounting 2 at the same time.
Once I learned all those numbers, it was all garbled. I just changed majors, went criminal justice. It was a lot easier.
Oh yeah. But see, mine was a different than that. I actually wanted to major in science because I saw myself as a coach, PE teacher and a coach, you know, and you want to know the truth, what these coaches make now, I wish I had gone that route. See, I just tell you what I wish I had gone that route. Although I practice law, I wish I had gone that route, you know. I do, you know, you want to talk?
Yeah, you'd have been pro temp.
Mr. President.
Senator, you have the mic.
Yeah, I'll yield to this senator because I know he's going to give me my time and place back. So I just,
Senator Singleton.
without losing my time and place.
I understand.
I had to say that for the secretary because he'll be saying, you gone.
Now, when you say you yield, I understand what you want. You're good.
Okay.
All right. Senator Singleton.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. You know, I guess I'm like the Aflac duck. I'm the gap filler, I guess. Filling in the gap here. We're on Miss Rachel Riddle. You know, I absolutely love this woman and the work that she does for the state of Alabama. The demeanor that she brings to this office, the professionalism that she brings to this office is just bar none, no nonsense. It's not like I got you kind of office. It's a more of let me work with you, work through the problems, and try to make sure it's straighten it out versus trying to penalize people and make them look like they're wrong.
Very, very professional, very organized, and helpful. Yes.
Yeah, and so with that, you know, she's deserving of this confirmation. I also too serve on that examiners board oversight committee, and that we just met in a joint session just this week, and we were able to give her a unanimous vote to continue the work that she's doing here, not just only in this state house, but across the state, in every courthouse across the state, health departments and all. So she's basically has that authority to audit just about every public agency in the state.
You know, Senator, you're 100% correct because she works to help with you and work through problems and make it better and help folks that have little issues. She helps to solve their problems and works with them. It's a very, very well-deserved appointment.
She is, and so you know we can then move forward knowing that, you know, we have somebody at the helm of the state who's looking after, you know, our interests and making sure that the cities and counties and the state, you know, balances their books and making sure that, you know, everybody's getting their audits, making sure everybody playing by the rule.
That's right.
Basically.
That's correct.
Basically, everybody playing by the rule.
You know, a lot of the ARPA money that we have put out through ADEM has been some of the folks that have had issues getting grants and didn't understand they had to have audited statements available for ADEM, and she's been able to go out and help them get put together and get those done. So
right, and so you know, and I've seen, you know, where there have been cities who can't afford to have an audit done. You know, they're looked at taking financial statements, you know, doing without all of the information and trying to help get them started back on track. Because there's a lot of small cities out here that are struggling, and they have no tax base, you know, and everything is moving in a different direction from their town. People are packing up and moving, they're losing. You probably don't have a school in some of these areas that will bring growth for kids. And so a lot of these little towns are still functioning, but they're struggling.
they are, yeah, I agree, 100% agree with you. If it hadn't been for the SSUT and some of this ARPA money, some of them wouldn't be around today still.
Exactly, and you know, so since the virus has been here, you know, the federal government has put a lot of money on the ground. These cities and counties were able to get a lot more money than just waiting on allocations from the state and or waiting on tax money to return. So they have a year-end spending money. They were able to have money where they could spend now throughout the year. And so it wasn't even earmarked towards anything, no more than to spend it by the rules, you know. And so a lot of these cities and counties were able to do that, you know, because I saw some of these counties where prior to COVID, some of the doors was hanging off or something, you know, but when COVID money came in, they could fix those kind of things, you know. They could put in doors to help for safety, you know. They could put in partition glasses. And there are a lot of these courthouses built these nice glass partitions around their desk now. They're not going to ever take them down. No. They'll be there.
They'll be there, and they're leaving.
Yeah, they'll be there because it's protection for their workers also.
Just a little safety issue there.
A little safety, yeah.
Just a little safety issue.
Yeah, and they was able to do that at the whim of the federal government. And it didn't cost us as a state any money to do that. AOC didn't have to spend any money, you know, on courts to do that, you know. Circuit clerk's office got it, you know, judge's office got it, probate judge's office got it, tax assessors, tax collectors. They all were able to get a piece of that.
Been a lot of money spent, hasn't there?
A lot of money spent, man. You know, our federal government put a lot of money on the ground here, man. You know what I mean? Just think about it, in the tune of some $53 billion that they put on the ground.
And that's with a B, right?
Yes, with the B. I don't know how else you spell it, but the one with the B.
With the B. That's what the governor always says. That's
she does. She always said it does.
Make sure we're not talking about
I found myself repeating that the other day.
Yeah.
You know. So that's what I'm saying. I just think that, you know, but that money, you know, you got to have that federal audit that's going to come down, who's going to be coordinating with her to do some of these audits and things of that nature across here. And she's looking after where the money is being spent on behalf of the state of Alabama to make sure we are protected, you know, up against what the federal government said that they saw. So we'll be able to you know, to compare those books, because we don't want any of our cities and or counties to have mismanaged or misused any of those federal dollars that came down. We don't want that to happen.
Come back to us, paid it back, won't it?
You know? And we got to make sure that that doesn't. So, you know, Ms. Riddle and their office is on it. You know, she's been able to hire some, I think she said the other day, some 30 some odd new examiners to go out and do the work, but she needs a lot more examiners to do the work.
Right.
And so, but having the number of examiners that she got out there, then she's able to, you know, to get a lot more work done. You know, and I'm sure that it's a competitive market to get these accountants to come to work for the state for what we pay them versus people going into the private sector and making money now. You know, I'm sure she's having those kind of challenges.
Senator, everybody's competing with those same folks today, aren't they? They really are. You hit the nail on the head.
You know, because, you know, an audit could be able to allow people to be able to get their act together. You know, a lot of these small towns are able, like I know with the ADECA money that the ADEM money that we were giving out for these small water systems. And so some of these small water systems hadn't had an audit in some years. And so what they're able to do is they'll go out as a part of this whole opera money to be able to hire someone to go out and do the audit for them or come up with a financial statement so they can be able to put together those finances so they can be able to get the money out to them so we know what their standings are.
100% correct. You are. Then being able to do that. And that takes and spreads that money further that we've got.
Yes.
Get more departments across different cities and communities and help more Alabamians. Yes.
Yeah, and so, you know, I think we did a good and decent job at investing the money through our ARPA funds. You know, I'm sure that there's some things that are questionable that people want to question, but what is not questionable? You know what I'm saying? And I think somebody will have a question about any and all of it at any time. But at the end of the day, all of that money that has been spent, all of that money has gone out. Miss Rachel Riddle is gonna be the last. She like the Undertaker. She gonna be the last one to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Wouldn't compare her to the
She's the one-
Undertaker, but yeah.
She's gonna be the one who have to make sure those numbers are right.
She will.
You know what I'm saying? Out of all the play we may do, we make all these decisions to spend it, and all that money get flown around, and people get to do what they want to do. At the end of the day, those numbers gonna have to come back to her.
Well, that's it. And then they need to balance, because if they don't, I think we're responsible, right?
Exactly. And so she's
That's
gonna.
why we got.
And she's going to stand a good steward on behalf of the state of Alabama. And I believe in her. I believe in the work that she does. You know, even before she went to this position, you know, at LRS or LFO.
Such a pleasure to work
Doing
with.
an awesome job, you know. Ever since I've been in the legislature, since when she came, she has done an awesome job. And then moving over to the position that she has now, you know, has only just really elevate her skills and talent into another showcase on how she's handling the state auditing program.
It was a natural transition from here to there. Don't
Yes.
you agree? Natural
Yeah.
transition.
So we, you know, we're on target. We're on target. And
Yeah, I think it's probably
So I don't
important.
know-
I think it's probably important we confirm her today.
Mr. President,
Come with it.
Yes, sir.
I would like to yield the gentleman's time back to the gentleman from Jefferson. Will you allow me to yield?
I most certainly will.
Under
Welcome back, sir.
what rule is that I'm yielding under?
74B.
74B. Go ahead, on.
Mr. Secretary, you doing a good job up there. Hey, you make everybody like the dream team up there. You know the problem. I like that, boy. You on top of it.
Subsection C.
I'm glad you got your comfortable shoes on today, Senator.
You got what now?
I'm glad you got your comfortable shoes on. Everybody's got a smile on today.
Oh yeah, we gonna smile and we gonna. Hey, look, it's a lot going on this evening. Ooh, where my little list? Oh man, it's big time. We gonna have a banking and insurance committee meeting.
Not a committee meeting, are we?
Well, I call it committee committee meeting. We gonna have banking and insurance, and let's see what else we gonna have on here. We're gonna have a little tourism. Tourism, you know what I'm talking about when I say that.
Tourism bash, yeah.
Yeah, we got a little tourism. We got let's see. We got some yep. We're dealing with electricity, and we're dealing with credits and all that. We got all that stuff. Yeah. This is interesting. And two of the meetings I'm supposed to be at the same time.
It's difficult to be in the same place twice same time, isn't it?
It is.
Different places at the same time.
It is. I wish I had some kind of way. Let me tell you this. That made me think about something. You know, when I growing up, you know, you had the Jetsons. You remember the Jetsons?
Jetsons, yes, sir.
And they told us in 2023 that we were gonna be like the Jetsons. So I could sit right here and then do just like this and beam down to one of the meals and stay about 30 minutes and do like this and beam over there to the other one. But we ain't gotten there yet.
Well, I'm not sure I'm ready to go just yet. Are you?
Because every now and then somebody get caught between the places. You ever see that part of the game? When they
Yeah.
just beam it out there somewhere, they don't even know where they are, you know. So no, we don't want to see that happen.
Well, you know, we're getting closer to the Jetsons, electric cars and things happening. So we're getting a lot closer than we were.
How let me ask you this. Let me think. Let me think for a minute. I'm thinking about the confirmation. I want you to know what I'm thinking about that.
Okay.
See, I see them textbook people up there. I see them. And they need to have a chance to go home if they want to. They can stay all day. You know, I'm not running nobody away. But if they're waiting for their confirmation, then you know what I'm saying. I think that it might, if we can do anything else, we need to try to take. You think we can take care of them?
They're on the list there, yes, sir.
Yeah, but see, we might have to get all them other folks on the list. That's the only question. I ain't talking about Ms. Riddle, but I'm talking about some of them other people. So what's you the chair now? That's why I'm talking. You know, you determine how we get to where I was saying, even if you want to get there, because you the chair. But I just thought I would look up there and I see them sitting there. And so that's why I said that, you know, that maybe we can find a way. I don't know. You know, the secretary probably can tell us, the desk can, or you, if that's what you choose to do now. Like I keep saying it, you the man, you know, and you the chair, you know. So, but I just see them there, and I'm trying to look where they are. I'm trying to recognize. I see some. I think I see them up there. Do I see all of them up there? I see some of them. I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking. I see. Yeah. Yeah, you wanna have any of y'all? How many of y'all up there? That was for confirmation. Anybody up there for confirmation? Waiting to be confirmed. Oh, they gone then. Yeah, they gone. I thought they was up there. Oh, it isn't. I won't worry about it. I just, you know how they deal. You just don't want somebody sitting around.
I see the representative from Athens State's up there, so.
Where the representative at the state?
Not here,
He up
front.
there. Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, now, that's a good man right there. I'm serious. And I mean that. I say it from the Senate floor. I got a chance to meet him and talk with him. He is a very fine person. I just want to tell him that. I mean that, sincere. In that case, he's trying to get confirmed himself?
No, sir. No, sir. He represents Athens State. We've got three for Athens State, Senator Orr and
oh, we got the chairman.
the chairman. Yes, sir.
The chairman. Let me tell y'all a story. See, Lieutenant Governor didn't know this. I mean, he didn't know this. And I normally wouldn't have never said it, but when you said that, I had to share something with you. The last time that I remembered that we did Athens, it was a dog day for me. Dog day. Y'all remember that? If you wouldn't remember.
I wouldn't know, sir.
But the great senator from Jefferson, from Tuscaloosa, from Madison over there, not the junior senators from Madison. I only said that. No, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. Where is both of y'all from Madison, aren't you? Oh yeah, that's the senior one right there then. And so the senior one was here, you would, but he was here, and I was standing up here, and I don't know what I was talking about, something like that, and it wasn't said in these words, but this is what happened. And I said, I won't go into why. I ain't gonna do that, because we got a nice, pleasant day going. But I'm just gonna say what happened. That same day, they took, when I said took me, not reappoint, you know, not I'm on there and somebody take me off, but they would not reappoint me to the Board of Trustees at the University of Montevallo.
I remember that.
Well, yeah, you remember that, don't you?
I do.
And the reason I said this, because one of the members on these three that we are talking about was a part of the vote to bring the other person in. Okay?
Okay.
It wasn't saying they don't want me. They're just saying in words, no, we want that person. Okay. But you know what the uniqueness of it, that's what made me think about it. I'm the one, after being treated that way, walked up to the mic and nominated the one who's in our body after being done that way. So you remember, so when we talk about Athens, I just sitting here, you know, that kind of sour taste came back in my mouth. But see, when the Lord touched you, the Lord touched me and told me under those severe circumstances to have the heart of Lord Jesus and nominate the same person who just voted for you, voted for the other person so you wouldn't get something. Okay? So when we talking about Athens, I have to say that not the school. They had nothing to do with it. But that whole process. But now, the Lord has a way of working things out. So you have to put the faith in him. So you know what happened in the end, don't you?
Seems to me you're on the Montevallo board, aren't you?
Right. Y'all came back as a body and apologized right here at the mic. The pro tem did. The governor called me over and apologized. He was in it too. He apologized. And it was nice enough to try to suggest that I ought to be on the Alabama Board of Trustees because I'm the senator for UAB, which is in the Alabama system. And UAB at that time had no representative on the Board of Trustees at all, zero. But I made the statement, as prestigious as that board is, and it's the envy of many people who are on boards, and I didn't say I would never serve to help them, but I did say this, at that particular time, I'm the person, I said, I graduated from Montevallo. I didn't graduate from UA. My daughter did, in law school at that.
Law school.
But I didn't. And so I said, as such, you know, I feel unfinished and committed to UAM, okay? And you all thought enough of me to put me back on, and I'm appreciative of it. So that's why you hear me say it the way that I'm saying it. But when I heard that, it did bring back that memory.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And I'm not distraught or anything like that, but I can't stop my mind from thinking. You know, your mind does have a tendency to want to think about things, you know. And so, what y'all looking at time? How much time I got? Oh, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking, how much time do I have? Oh, okay. So you see what I'm saying?
I totally understand.
Now, so I know what your game plan is, but what's your second game plan about these conferences? Do you have a second game?
I don't have a second game plan right now. We may develop one real quick.
Well, I'm on. How many you got on now? How many you gonna try to do all of them we had today? That's what you. I mean, I'm not telling you.
We got several on there, so I was told to kind of plow through. So.
Oh, plow.
Maybe a long slog. But that's why you got your comfortable shoes on.
I didn't get them for confirmation. I just thought I'd be up here talking about these bills and stuff like that. These some interesting bills. Can you talk just for a minute?
Sure.
Let me tell you, you know how you be around people, and you gotta know that.
I do.
It's something on the minority leader's mind. I just don't know what it is. So give you a talk, come on.
I got you. Okay, y'all have a conversation, and we'll talk a little bit about Ms. Riddle again. What an excellent job she does for taking care of the Senate and the House and the facilities around the state of Alabama that she audits and helps our communities around town and around their towns and other places. And she is quite professional in what she does. She is a real treasure for the state of Alabama. And I hope that we'll have the opportunity to confirm her shortly here. So.
Mr. President, I'd like to yield to Senator Singleton without losing the time and place.
All right.
Okay.
Senator Singleton.
Yep, gap filler again, I'm back.
Welcome.
But I think that we going to get something worked out here, and we'll move on. And I think we, looking at Ms. Riddle, she will be confirmed today, this day, right here. Because I got some roadkill I need to go eat. And got to see my good old coal miners. my union boys and girls over the way. I love the roadkill. And you know the other reception I like out on the lawn? The egg, the one where they're doing the eggs early in the morning. That's a great reception at 7 o'clock. They should be coming back soon. But Ms. Riddle don't have to count the eggs over at the place over there. She just have to count the money that's being spent. And we'll do it that way. We'll get the money spent. We'll get the money spent. Yes, indeed. Maybe we can take some of these folks out, get them on over, get them confirmed. We had quite a few people show up today in confirmations. I don't know if they're still in the audience or not, but I think we can possibly get some folks confirmed and move forward.
All right, Senator Singleton.
Yes,
Senator Sessions, want to talk? Do you yield to let him talk?
I would yield to the gentleman without losing.
All right, Senator Sessions.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I heard you mention the egg and poultry and egg breakfast over there, the eggs. You know, those eggs been high this year. You know, they were getting up there around $8, $9 a dozen.
Right.
And I'd spoken to our commissioner, Rick Pate, about that. I said, is it really a shortage or are we getting taken advantage? He said one producer had over 3 million birds die from, or had to be put away from avian flu. 3 million eggs a day that was taken out for at least 30-something days before they could replace those laying hens. But anyway, I heard you mention that, and you know, and I heard a colleague of mine up here talking about all these numbers garbled together. I mean, could you imagine 3 million birds garbled together in one house that they have to dispose of? Man, that's a mess. But need to keep those guys in our prayers and try and get that production back up to where that price can come back down.
Is garbled the word of the day?
Eggs are. But anyway, I think our colleagues.
Those eggs, man, you know, I used to have some chickens that produce some eggs, and I got to get my chickens back, man. I need to redo my pen, put some fresh wire around it, and get my chickens back.
At our little fruit stand, I'm going to call it, retail outlet we have at the farm, we were actually able to sell yard eggs, which are usually higher than what I call the factory eggs that mass produce.
Right.
They're usually higher than the mass produced, but this year, for the longest time, they're actually cheaper.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the people that produce those just really haven't, you know, they didn't get affected by the bird flu and they didn't lose production and they kept on producing. So that's real unusual for that to happen. So they actually went up a little bit, but they didn't go up like the other ones did.
Right. And you're absolutely right. You know, I think if we can get a number of, you get you a couple of good laying hens, boy, you got yourself something. Yes, indeed. But we're going to move forward with Ms. Riddle, and we're not going to ask her to count them 3 million eggs. There's just one producer. We're not gonna ask her to count them eggs, but what she will count is that cash that come off them eggs now. She will count that cash. There's gold up in the mountains. It's gold in the mountains. Yes, indeed. It's still gonna be expensive. I guess the rabbit better watch out. The bunny might get. The bunny might become a hot commodity this year. You better watch out. The egg been standing in for him. Now the egg so hot, the Easter bunny might be in trouble. He might get ate up.
For the gentleman.
Oh boy, yes sir.
So was Senator Sessions talking about getting eggs garbled
Excuse me,
up?
sir, you have to ask,
That's
can
what-
you have to,
Can I?
hold up, sir, hold up, Mr. President. There's a decorum that we have up here. You just can't come jumping up at the mic at any time and jumping into a conversation without
right.
me yelling to you. You have to have a decorum here. You need to ask the president, can you be recognized, sir?
I'll be recognized.
Well, hold on, Senator Bell. He's right. You can't jarble your words. So, all right, now you have the mic. Do you want
Jarvis,
to
the
yield?
word of the day.
I don't know. Do you want to yield the mic?
I'm telling you.
Do you want to yield the mic?
I would yield the mic to the gentleman without losing my
Okay.
time and place.
All right, Senator Bell.
So Senator Sessions up here talking about getting eggs garbled up. So how do you garble eggs?
I don't know. That sounded to be your word for the day.
All right.
I don't know your word for the day. Garble up. Mr. President, I would like to yield the mic back to the gentleman from Jefferson, to whom time and place it is his.
All right. So, Senator Smitherman, you got the mic, and you have 12 minutes remaining on your time.
That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Or you can, also y'all can make a motion to approve the confirmation. So
Well,
it is an option.
Mr. President.
I will yield to him to make whatever motions.
All right, Senator
he'd
Livingston.
like to do.
President, I move that the Senate confirm Rachel Riddle as Office of Chief Examiner of Public Accounts, and I assume we have to call a long roll. So
Yep, Secretary call the long roll.
so-
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss.
How long you?
Mr. Chasteen. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Livingston.
Aye.
Mr. Melson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price.
An agreement past 10.
10 of them?
Yeah.
Mr. Reed. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Schofield. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shillnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Rachel Riddle is confirmed. Secretary call next conferee.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate confirmation number 23, appointing Arthur Orr to the Athens State University Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President.
Senator Livingston.
President, I move that the Senate confirm Senator Arthur Orr to the Athens State Board using previous role with no objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
29 ayes.
All right, 29 ayes, 0 nays. Arthur Orr is confirmed. Secretary call next conferee.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate confirmation number 25, appointing Mac McCutcheon to the Alabama State University Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President.
Senator Livingston.
Mr. President, I move we can Senate confirm Mac McCutcheon to the Athens State Board of Trustees using previous role with no objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Mac McCutcheon's confirmed. Secretary called next conferee.
Got it. From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate Confirmation Number 24, appointing Mike Underwood to the Athens State University Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President.
Senator Livingston.
Move we confirm Mike Underwood to the Athens State Board of Trustees using previous role with no objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Mike Underwood's confirmed. Secretary called next conferee.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate Confirmation Number 26, appointing Gregory Fannin to the Surface Mining Commission, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President.
Senator Livingston.
Mr. President, I move we confirm Greg Fanning to the Surface Mining Commission using previous role if no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Greg Fanning's confirmed. Secretary called next conferee.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 27, appointing Michelle Matea to the Surface Mining Commission, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President.
Senator Livingston.
I move the Senate confirm Mitchell Matea to the Surface Mining Commission using previous role of no objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Mitchell Matea is confirmed. Secretary called next conferee.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 29, appointing Deidre Tatum to the Surface Mining Commission, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President. Move the
Livingston.
Senate confirm Deidre Tatum to the Surface Mining Commission using previous role of no objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Deidre Tatum's confirmed. Secretary called next conferee.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 28, appointing Edward White to the Surface Mining Commission, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President, move we appoint Edward White to the Surface Mining Commission and confirm him today by the Senate using previous role of no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Edward White's confirmed. Secretary called next conferee.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 22, appointing Alvin Hope II to the Alabama Trust Fund Board, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President, I move we confirm Alvin Hope to the Alabama Trust Fund Board using previous role of no objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Alvin Hope II is confirmed. Secretary called next conferee.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate Confirmation Number 20, appointing Horace Horn to the Alabama Department of Archives and History Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President, I move we confirm Horace Horn to the Department of Archives and Board of History Trustees using previous role of no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Horace Horn is confirmed. Secretary called next conferee.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate Confirmation Number 21, appointing Elizabeth Stevens to the Alabama Department of Archives and History Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President, I move the Senate confirm Elizabeth Stevens to the Department of Archives History Board of Trustees using previous role of no objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
All right, 30 ayes, 0 nays. Elizabeth Stevens is confirmed. This concludes confirmations.
Thank you, Mr.
All right,
President.
Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 59 receives a favorable report with 3 amendments by a vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 11 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 58 receives a favorable report with 3 amendments by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, House Bill number 1 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill 119 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill 120 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 96 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee on State Governmental Affairs, Senate Bill number 95 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays with 1 amendment. From the Committee on State Governmental Affairs, Senate Bill number 108 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, Senate Bill number 91 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, Senate Bill number 128 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, Senate Bill 147 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee on Banking and Insurance, Senate Bill number 71 receives a favorable report with 1 amendment by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Banking and Insurance, Senate Bill number 84 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Banking and Insurance, Senate Bill number 15 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Banking and Insurance, Senate Bill number 138 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Banking and Insurance, Senate Bill 139 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee on Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 131 receives a favorable report with 1 amendment by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 62 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 98 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second read and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary called next committee.
From the Tourism Committee, Senate Bill number 135 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays. From the Tourism Committee, Senate Bill 117 receives a favorable report by a vote of 8 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second read and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. This concludes committee reports. Now move on to motions and resolutions. Senator Allen.
Mr. President, I've got an SJR.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the SJR.
Senate Joint Resolution number 23 by Senator Allen, mourning the death and celebrating the life of James Buford Boone, Jr.
Mr. President.
Senator Allen.
Jim Boone, many of you on the floor and in the gallery and every place else probably have known Jim Boone, newspapers throughout the South. And Mr. President, I move to add all the members of the Senate, but move for immediate adoption.
All right, first is on adding all members of the Senate as co-sponsors. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. Then
I move immediate adoption.
All right, any objection? All right, hearing none, so ordered. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution is adopted. Senator Allen. Senator Wagner.
I have resolutions from the Rules Committee.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the resolutions from the Rules Committee.
From the Committee on Rules. From the Committee on Rules, Senate Joint Resolution number 7, naming the bridge on Alabama State Highway Route 25 that spans United States Highway Route 82 in Bibb County, Alabama. The Deputy Brad Johnson Memorial Bridge receives a favorable report.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move adoption of the resolution.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution is adopted. Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, I have another resolution from the Rules Committee.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Rules Committee, Senate Joint Resolution number 9, recognizing the Alabama River as an Alabama state landmark on Rivers of Alabama Day on April 11, 2023, receives a favorable report.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move adoption of the resolution.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
I have a resolution.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, Senate Joint Resolution number 10, designating the bridge on Alabama State Highway Route 158 that spans Lott Road in Mobile County as the Melvin E. Pierce Memorial Bridge receives a favorable report.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move adoption of the resolution.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
I have a resolution.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, Senate Joint Resolution number 11, honoring the Prattville Area Chamber of Commerce on its 50th anniversary, receives a favorable report.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
I have a resolution.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, Senate Joint Resolution number 13, commending Nucor Steel Decatur and Decatur Relay for Life for being the #1 Relay for Life event for the American Cancer Society worldwide, receives a favorable report.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move to give the resolution a favorable report.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Have a resolution.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, Senate Joint Resolution number 14, commending Mr. Joseph P. Borg for outstanding service to his country in the state of Alabama, receives a favorable report.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move adoption of the resolution.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Have a resolution.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, Senate Joint Resolution number 15, commending Coach Jana McInnes for winning 1,000 games as the head softball coach at Jacksonville State University. Receives a favorable report.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
move adoption of the resolution.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
have a resolution.
All right, Secretary Reed received the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, Senate Joint Resolution number 16, creating the Joint Interim Study Commission on Responsible Technology Purchases by Public Education. Receives a favorable report.
Mr. President,
Senator Singleton.
I have an amendment to that resolution.
All right, Secretary Reed received the amendment.
I don't know what he's doing.
Only thing it does is add general fund chairs to the committee. That's all it does. On the study committee.
Amendment to Senate Joint Resolution 16 by Senator Singleton. Replace line 5 on page 1 with the following: responsible technology purchases. Replace line 14 on page 1 with the following: with rapid technological change, often with limited budgets. Replace lines 18 through 19 on page 1 with the following: Interim Study Commission on Responsible Technology Purchases to examine the short-term and long-term.
Okay.
Replace lines 39 through 40 on page 2 with the following: committee or his or her designee. Replace line 42 on page 2 with the following: the House of Representatives Minority Leader or. Replace line 44 on page 2 with the following: the State Finance Director or his or her.
I get away with whatever I can get away with.
Replace line 46 on page 2 with the following: an educational hardware technology specialist. Replace line 64 on page 3 with the following: calculator for public K through 12 and higher education and state government agencies to utilize.
All right, Senator Singleton, amendment.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Move to
All
adoption.
right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the amendment is adopted. Now we have
Move
a
for
motion.
adoption with, move for adoption of the resolution.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Resolution is adopted as amended. Thanks, Senator Wagner and Senator Singleton. All right, any other motions or resolutions? All right, Senator Albritton.
Have a resolution.
All right, Secretary Reed received the resolution.
Senate Joint Resolution number 24 by Senator Albritton, celebrating the retirement of Chief Jimmy Flanagan.
If we can move for immediate consideration.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
So moved, move for adoption then.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Albritton. All right, any other motions or resolutions? All right, if not, don't have any local bills. Oh. It's open. Okay. All right, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, have a report from the Committee on Rules.
All right, Secretary Reed received the report from the Committee on Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, Senate Resolution number 25, Special Order Calendar. Be it resolved by the Senate that the following bills in the order named shall be the special, paramount, and continuing order of business, taking precedence over all other matters until disposed of for the sixth legislative day only. On page 2, Senate Bill number 46 by Senators Orr and Chasteen relating to mobility of P through 12 teachers. On page 9, Senate Bill number 28 by Senator Melson relating to podiatry. On page 7, Senate Bill number 12 by Senator Barfoot relating to state holidays. On page 9, Senate Bill number 109 relating to the Alabama Board of Social Work Examiners. On page 1, Senate Bill number 23 by Senator Albritton relating to the salary of circuit clerks. On page 8, Senate Bill number 92 relating to retirement by Senator Carnley. On page 5, Senate Bill 55 by Senator Orr relating to guardianships. On page 9, Senate Bill 142 by Senator Figures relating to Spanish Fort in Baldwin County. On page 5, Senate Bill number 25 by Senator Albritton relating to the Board of Physical Therapy.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
move adoption of the report from the Committee on Rules.
Would you like to use previous roll?
Previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The special order calendar is adopted. Secretary, call the first bill.
On page 2 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 46 by Senators Orr and Chasteen relating to the mobility of P through 12 teachers. BR pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Orr.
move adoption of the BIR using previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 2 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 46 by Senator Orr relating to the mobility of P through 12 teachers. Committee amendment pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Orr.
move adoption of the committee amendment using the previous roll, which is amendment on liability.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment is adopted. Senator Orr.
Mr. President, I'd move third reading using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 46 passes amended. Thank you, Senator Orr.
Go over there.
Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 9 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 28 by Senator Melson relating to podiatry. BR pending.
Mr. President,
Yes, Senator Melson.
I'd like to move the BIR using previous row.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 9 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 28 by Senator Melson relating to podiatry. Committee substitute pending.
Senator Melson.
Mr. President, I'd like to adopt the substitute using previous row without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The substitute's adopted. All right, Senator Melson.
Mr. President, this bill has to do with the practice of podiatry. Some people would consider it expansion of scope. I consider scope to be what you're trained to do, and sometimes we actually limit scope, and we've limited this in the past, so I'd like to just allow these individuals to do more than what they're currently being able to do. Currently, they're able to operate up to the ankle. This would allow them to go to the ankle. It does not do above the ankle as they can do in some states, but it allows them a little more leeway and to continue to practice. And part of that, I'd like to add this amendment and explain the amendment. The amendment just makes it clear where they can do an amputation. Currently, they can do a forefront. This goes to the show part joint, which is just distal to the talus. So they could do an amputation, not of a total foot, but just the midfoot forward. And this would allow them to do that. And so I'd like to...
All right, Secretary Reed received the amendment. Also would like to welcome former Senator Roger Bedford to the floor. Senator, welcome to Alabama Senate. All right, Secretary, back to the amendment. Read and receive the amendment, please.
Amendment to the substitute for Senate Bill 28 by Senator Melson. Replace line 42 on page 2 with the following: amputation above the Chopart joint or total ankle arthroplasty. A podiatrist may prescribe.
I'd like to adopt the amendment using long row unless my colleague over here would rather me. I'd like to use a short row unless my colleague objects.
All right. So
on the amendment, okay, using the short.
Previous roll. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, no nays.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The Senator Melson amendment's adopted. All right, Senator Melson.
Mr. President, I have another amendment. This was taken out. And what this amendment does, it just makes it clear that they're not allowed to do general anesthesia, just use local anesthetic, which is normal in their practice.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the amendment.
Amendment to the substitute for Senate Bill number 28 by Senator Melson. Replace line 42 on page 2 with the following: amputation above the Chopart joint or the administration of any anesthetic other than local, a podiatrist may prescribe.
I don't want to do ankle.
Mr. President,
All right, Senator Melson.
I'd like to adopt the amendment using the previous row if no objection.
All right, any objection? All right. Long roll, no amendment.
No. I just want to know what the amendment does. You know what?
Okay, all right.
That's all.
Senator Melson.
As I stated, if this amendment's not in there, they'd be allowed to do general anesthesia. This just makes it clear that they can only do local anesthesia. So they couldn't actually put somebody to sleep like an anesthesiologist. Yes, okay.
All right. Senator Weaver, you objected to using the, okay. All right, any objection to using the short roll in this amendment? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The Senator Melson amendment number 2 is adopted. Senator Melson.
Mr. President,
Senator Melson.
I just want to make it clear that, because there's been some confusion on a podiatrist caseload. There's been some, usually a podiatrist will well, let me just back up. Podiatrists now do a 3-year residency. This makes sure that they have to complete a 3-year residency. It doesn't grandfather anybody in who's only done a 1 or 2 year residency. It also, a resident now has to keep a case log. There's been some confusion in the past that a case log included if you were just in the room or your second assistant, but it's clear now that a case log toward graduation requires you to actually be the primary person performing the procedure or first assist. Those are actually what counts. Now a resident probably does over 1,000 cases prior to their graduation. I think my colleague has got sidetracked. Senator Roberts, did you want to say something?
President.
All right, Senator Melson, do you yield?
Yes.
All right, Senator Roberts.
We have an amendment. It's 2 hours. We still don't have it back from LSA yet on ankle replacement surgery being a part of their scope of practice.
Okay. Do you want to move to carry this over, call the chair, we can come back to it?
I can, sorry. What'd you say, sir?
They're working on an amendment. Do you want to move to carry this over the call of the chair? We can bring it back up? Or?
No, sir, but I'm willing to move it over to the call of the chair.
All right. Is that what you want to? Hold on.
Does that take unanimous consent?
Does.
That's why I object.
Okay.
And I'll read them. Can I be recognized?
Well, he hasn't made the motion yet. That was just a suggestion.
Well, I'm going to object when he makes it.
Okay.
And I'll explain why.
All right. Well, you got the mic, Senator
I'm
Nelson,
willing
so.
to carry it over to the call of the chair. He's going to object, so if I need to, I'll just carry the bill over, but.
All right, so you got a motion to carry over to call the chair. Any objection? All right, so, yeah. All right, then we're still on the bill. So, Senator Melson.
I'm not trying to take the mic from him. Can I be recognized?
You can be recognized, yes.
Okay. The reason I did that is simply because, and I just share, I don't know whether the majority feel this way or not, but I don't have no problem with them working on ankles. I'm just telling you. And I think the amendment is going to bar them from working on ankles. And so I just telling y'all what it was about, you know, why I just held it up for a minute. I don't have no problem carrying it over if that's what he wants to do, even with the call of the chair. But I want to just let it be known that I don't have any problem with these people. They go to school for it. They tested for it. And I know that in this world, Mr. President, I know in this world that folks fight for territories and all that. And I know that's what this is about. You know, that the people who doing it now don't want them to get in. I can understand that. But let me say this just to you, and then I'm going to go to the carrying over. Right now, I have my doctor my general doctor, who father passed away in Africa, went back, helped his mom and stuff. He has stopped practicing right now. As a result of that, I've been able to find a way to get around this. But my initial contact was I couldn't get an appointment until late May. So that's the spirit that I said is in. You know, if you have more people ready, available, can do this, then people don't have to sit around for a month and 2 weeks and 3 weeks to see a specialist and to do what they got to do. So I just wanted to share to everyone that through my own personal experiences of having to delay before you could get to the doctor and get an appointment, I would not want them to bar them from being able to work on the ankles. So with that in mind, Mr. President, I'll yield back to Senator, the sponsor of the bill.
All right.
And let him do
Senator Melson.
his thing he gonna do.
Well, Mr. President,
Whatever you wanna do.
All right. So Senator Roberts, yes.
the amendment that we're proposing is simply to stop the ability to do ankle replacement surgery, not to operate, work on the ankle. It's to stop ankle what's the proper word, Dr. Melson?
It prohibits, I haven't seen
Ankle
it.
replacement.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. President, I think at this point, I'd like to just ask for final passage and add that amendment in the House and let them work it in the House. So I'd like to just make a motion for final passage using the long row.
All right, well, okay, were you still, earlier you're recognized.
I'm still waiting on that amendment.
Okay.
Two and a half hours that we asked for that, and we still don't have it, so. But that's the purpose of what we would do. So I would not be in favor of moving forward without being able.
It's not on the, yeah, I mean, you've had the mic, so you can talk, or you can yield back to him and he can make that motion, and then, so that's your call. Do you want to keep the mic?
I yield back to Senator Melson.
All right, Senator Melson.
I'm going to make a motion for final passage using the long row.
All right.
And then
All right, Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chasteen. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Melson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Reed. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Schofield. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shelnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams.
$25 ayes, 5 nays. Senate Bill 28 passes amended. Thank you, Senator Melson.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 7 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 12 by Senator Barfoot relating to state holidays. BR pending.
Mr. President,
Barfoot.
move to adopt BR
All right.
using the short roll. No, excuse me, use long roll, please,
All
Mr.
right.
President.
Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot.
Aye.
Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chasteen. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Milson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Reed. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Schofield. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shelnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams.
Thirty ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 7 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 12 by Senator Barfoot relating to state holidays. Committee amendment pending.
Mr. President, move adoption of the committee amendment using the previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment is adopted. Senator Barfoot.
Mr. President, move final passage of SB 12 using previous roll.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 12 passes amended. Thanks, Senator Barfoot.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 9 of the calendar, Senate Bill 109 by Senator Coleman Madison relating to the Alabama Board of Social Work Examiners. BR pending.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move the BR using previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 9 of the calendar, Senate Bill 109 relating to the Alabama Board of Social Work Examiners. Committee amendment pending.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move adoption of the committee amendment
Let's use previous roll.
using previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment is adopted. All right, Senator Coleman Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a companion bill of House Bill that's already passed. House Bill 56 that's already passed. Currently in Alabama, there are 2,460 licensed social workers. And right now, we know that there's a shortage all over the place. To get us to the level of where we need to be, you must have a master's or doctorate degree in social service, 3,000 hours, and 96 hours of clinical supervision. 26% of the exams are devoted to assessment, which we're talking about the things that they will be doing, assessment, diagnosis, and intervention planning, and 25% of psychotherapy and clinical intervention and case management. This bill would align Alabama with every state. Alabama is the only state where social workers are not allowed to diagnose. It will also allow reciprocity with other states that with people coming in. We train the best, but they leave. That's why we have a shortage. They go to other states because they cannot practice. The bill would allow social workers to diagnose within their scope of practice. Common areas of scope of practice for clinical social workers include diagnosing depressive disorders, anxiety-related disorders such as the adjustment of disorders and PTSD. But they cannot prescribe medication. They cannot diagnose or treat physical conditions and cannot administer or interpret psychological tests. Only a psychologist can do that, so they would have to refer that person. We know that we have an issue with mental health, and all of these people are referred and work through social work. As of last month, I said this month, but it's really last month, the Department of Veterans Affairs notified, the Federal Affairs notified the licensed clinical social workers here in Alabama that they would not be able to obtain a second license in any other state or lose their job because they cannot diagnose within their required. So I move the bill using previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 109 passes as amended. Thanks, Senator Coleman Madison. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 1 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 23 by Senator Albritton relating to circuit clerks, BR pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Albritton.
move for passage of the BIR using a previous role without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
Thirty ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 1 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 23 by Senator Albritton relating to circuit clerks.
Mr. President,
Senator Albritton.
this is a pay raise for circuit clerks that will take effect, should it pass, in the term of after the next election. So it'd be January 25 when it would take effect. Invite any questions. If not, move for passage using previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 23 passes. Thanks, Senator Albritton.
Thank you, sir.
Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 8 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 92 by Senator Carnley relating to retirement, BR pending.
Senator Carnley.
I want to vote for us to accept the BIR.
Would that use previous role? All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 8 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 92 by Senator Carnley relating to retirement.
Senator Carnley.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this bill up. This bill is opening up the window for local governments, whether it's counties, cities, or local boards, to participate in the one-time retiree bonus. It's $24 for every year of service. Average is about $600. This was opened last year in 2022. And as long as it's not mandatory, they get the option to, pass a resolution locally to adopt this. And if they do, then they have to fund it. It's no expense to the state. So make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Mr. President, I'd like to start my first hour with this gentleman. I'd like to ask some questions, please.
All right, you're recognized.
Mr. Conley, said this bill is based on retirees based on per 24, how much per year service?
$24 for every year service.
Is there a cap on this? There's no cap?
No cap.
So who all will benefit from this? Is this all state retirees?
Not state retirees, it's local retirees.
Just local retirees?
Counties, municipalities, and local boards and authorities.
Okay. Is there a fiscal note on it, so it's no cost to the state?
No cost to the state. There is a fiscal note, and it's been noted that there's no expense to the state.
Really? So they're gonna have the expense. So you feel good about this bill that we can put this expense on the locals? You got a lot of small local governments out there that possibly can't afford this.
Their choice. They don't have to accept it. So if they
this
don't
is-
believe they
this is
can handle the
voluntary.
event, it's voluntary. So if they can't afford it, then it's not mandated by us.
So what are we gonna do to help these communities?
Well, we just helped them with ARPA last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no, everybody can get no offer. This is an opportunity for all 67 counties to participate.
Most of them have already participated. There's only 6 counties that have not participated in it.
Okay, you did a little research then, didn't you?
Probably not enough to compete with you, but here we go.
All right. Okay. Well, what it does is gives the people
Coach, you got to help me over there.
county and cities. Well, I'm sorry. I'll let Senator Smith Max his own question.
No. And I asked you.
Yes. But so if we're looking at this bill, and if I spent, so you're telling me if I spent 30 years in the city government, so I'm gonna be able to get $24 per service year.
That's correct.
And is it taxable
Yes.
to the retiree?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not through. I'm not finished. I know you're looking, hopefully I'll be gone. I'm not gone yet. I know you were hoping like,
And I was being nice to you over there, so I take everything back.
oh. So you were being nice to me.
I was. Not here, over there.
Okay.
That's how my shoe.
Thank you, Elliot. Because we're in for a little while right here now. Since you were being nice to me, I think I'll be nice back to you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be nice enough to kill this bill. No, I think this is a good bill. Thank you for bringing this on behalf of those municipal workers and county workers, and hopefully that they'll be able to benefit from those municipalities who can benefit from it. I served on city government once upon a time, and I understand those city employees, they're out there, they're working hard and just trying to make a living and trying to stay at home to lead talent right there in your hometown, because if everybody leave, nobody else will be around to do those jobs. So you have to commend people who stay around and be willing to serve in the capacity that they do. We need to award them.
Thank you.
And you are going to give them $24. Don't you feel bad with all this money out here? That's all you want to give them is $24 per service year? You could make it 25.
It was 20, so we got it to 24.
You couldn't make it 25.
I couldn't.
Why? What's the problem?
Well, this happened last year, so I wasn't here.
Oh, okay.
Y'all said it last year.
That was my bill.
I'm just opening up the window for them again.
That was my bill.
It was.
I think it was.
It was
I had
a really
bill.
good bill, too, by the way.
Thank you.
You did an excellent job. We appreciate that.
You're going to be a slick one.
I'm just trying to get the final pass.
I got you. It's my mic. You don't get to call final passes yet.
I'm
It goes
waiting on-
right now within this hour when I get ready for it to go. This is my hour.
I'm trying to help Senator Gudger get to his anniversary dinner.
Where did y'all get this slick Willie from? With that said, Mr. President, I move for third read be dispensed without using previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 92 passes. Congratulations, Senator Carnley, on your first bill. Secretary, call the next bill on the calendar.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 55 by Senator Orr relating to guardianships and conservatorships. VIR pending.
Senator Orr.
President, move adoption of the BIR using previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
31 ayes.
31 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 55 by Senator Orr relating to guardianships and conservatorships. Committee amendments pending.
Senator Orr.
Mr. President, I would move adoption of committee amendment number 1 using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment number 1 is adopted. Senator Orr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we have a second committee amendment. Okay, so I move adoption of the second committee amendment number 2 using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment number 2 is adopted. Senator Orr.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the supported decision-making agreement that came through judiciary. 14 states have adopted this. The American Bar Association and others support the concept to help those where a guardianship, conservatorship may not apply. Comes from out of Tuscaloosa with a young man named Colby Spangler who would benefit from this, and a nice young man. We had a rally out a couple of weeks ago in front of the State House. It's a good bill for our state. Now I would move third reading using the previous roll, Mr. President.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 55 passes amended. Thanks, Senator Orr. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 9 of the calendar, Senate Bill 142 by Senator Figures relating to the municipality of Spanish Fort in Baldwin County. BR pending.
Mr. President.
Senator Figures.
Thank you. I move for the adoption of the BIR using the previous roll, please.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 9 of the calendar, Senate Bill 142 by Senator Figures relating to Baldwin County.
Senator Figures.
Mr. President, thank you. I move for final passage of SB 142, reading it length to be dispensed with, using previous roll.
Okay, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 142 passes. Thanks, Senator Figures.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, members of the Senate. And let it be known that the first bill that I passed this session was for part of my new district in Baldwin County.
Congratulations. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 25 by Senator Albritton relating to the Board of Physical Therapy. BR pending.
Mr. President.
Senator Albritton.
Move for passage of the BIR using previous roll without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 25 by Senator Albritton relating to the Board of Physical Therapy.
Mr. President.
Senator Albritton.
This bill deals with physical therapists and allows reciprocity, if I can say that word, for other states to come in and for other PTs to come in and practice in Alabama under Alabama law. If there's no questions, I'd move for final passage using previous roll without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 25 passes. Thanks, Senator Albritton.
Thank you.
Senator Reed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, good job today. Thank you for your hard work. I took notes. Okay, we were working, amending, debating, voting, laughing, getting the people's work done. Okay? So listen, God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for your diligence on behalf of the people of your districts and good people of the state of Alabama. So I know there's a lot of events tonight, topics that folks want to get to, and I'm glad we're headed there now. We stand adjourned, Mr. President. 9:30 tomorrow morning.
All right, you heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. President.